This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb White. I am joined as usual by Cameron Williams. And today we have a special first time guest, and that is Darryl Brown, who is the head football coach at Greensboro Grimsley High. Hi, Coach. How you doing today? And welcome.
I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me on. Looking forward to it.
You have a big date on Friday with your Whirlies taking on West Charlotte at the Keep Pounding Classic at Bank of America Stadium, home of the Carolina Panthers, and some winning football will show up there, one way or the other, which is something that we don't necessarily get with the NFL. But talk a little bit about playing in the Classic at an NFL venue and what it means to not only you, but to your players and the Grimsley community.
We're extremely excited about the opportunity. Obviously, to open up your season in Bank of America Stadium is a really neat experience for our staff, our community, and especially our players. I told our guys when we were selected back in March that we finished our season in Keenan, playing the state championship down at UNC, and then we open up this season in Bank of America. I mean, those two experiences alone are just something very unique for any of us, but especially a 16, 17-year-old kid playing high school football. So we don't take it for granted. We know we're extremely blessed to have the opportunity, playing a really well-coached, talented, athletic football team. And the fact that we get to represent Greensboro in this classic, and really the first team we mentioned east of Charlotte area to come play in the game. It's basically been Charlotte or South Carolina schools, and being able to travel down and kind of represent this side of the state and represent the triad is something that we take very seriously. And our guys have prepared the right way, and we're just looking forward to the opportunity come Friday.
Coach, you mentioned before, you just mentioned there representing Greensboro, and at the press conference for the Keep Pounding Classic, you talked about how when you first, took the job there at Grimsley, people would always say, "Well, you'll be fine in the playoffs till you face Charlotte teams, till you face Charlotte teams." But you've proven over the last, 3, 4, 5 years that it doesn't matter if you play a team from Charlotte, you still seem to get the job done. What does this Keep Pounding Classic do to really just put your stamp on things like, hey, we can come to Charlotte and we can beat Charlotte's finest?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if now like necessarily that we look at it like that. We just, we're all about playing really good teams, and our non-conference schedule this year is really strong. And obviously, opening up with West Charlotte, week one, defending state champ. Most people have them ranked the number one team in 8A classification, some overall in the state of North Carolina. So, whether it's West Charlotte or whoever, I mean, we want to test ourselves against the best. And going down to Charlotte and playing West Charlotte in that stadium, which is right in their backyard, is a huge, huge test for our guys. One that, like I said, we're looking forward to, and one that's going to make us better. We're going to come out of that football game and we're going to know a lot about ourselves. It's going to prepare us for the next few weeks, conference play, and then playoffs down the road. I think it's something that we'll always be able to draw back on. Playing in a big time game and a big time atmosphere is going to do nothing but make us better down the road.
Yeah.
When you are picked for the Keep Pounding Classic, it is usually the best teams in the Carolinas that get picked. And like you said, this is the first time outside of the Charlotte area where a team has been invited. Uh, Talk a little bit about what that means in terms of the recognition that comes with that. I mean, they could have picked somebody further
Yeah.
west from Charlotte or down east, but the Grimsley Whirlies were picked. So,
Yeah.
what does it mean in terms of that recognition that your program is pretty good?
Right. Well, I mean, again, we don't take it for granted. And it's really just culmination, kind of the body of work of our football program the last 5 or 6 years. I say, the last 6 years, I think we've been as good as anybody in the state of North Carolina. I think we've proven that over and over. And, our kids and our staff continue to work, and, we're not satisfied. And we keep striving to get better each and every day. And it says a lot, not only about this team that we got, that the Panthers chose this group to come, but really, like I said, what's been done before this team, and the things that we've accomplished the last few years. And so our football team understands that not only are we representing this group, kind of representing the body of work of Grimsley football. And we want to make sure we go down there and put on a good show and play well and play hard and play tough, all the things that we always talk about. It's going to take all that come Friday night.
Talk a little bit about this year's group specifically. Everybody knows about years past, but who are some key players and pieces on this year's team, different from seasons ago? Everyone knows about Faizon Brandon. He's everything and then some. But who are going to be some other key playmakers for you guys this year?
Yeah, well, we got a lot of them. I mean, we return on the offensive side, besides Faison, we return a good portion of our receiving core. And, again, these are names that people have heard, but like DJ Howerton at tight end and Hudson Cooper and Kyan Battle, just big pieces of our team the last couple of years. Obviously, they're back. So that gives us a lot of familiarity with kind of those guys and what we're able to do on that side of the ball. And then there's a guy, Alex Cooper, who's a rising sophomore, and you'll see him playing Friday night at the X receiver position. He's Hudson's younger brother. Very talented young man, had a tremendous season last year for us on the JV team, and he's going to be a big part of what we do offensively this year. And then we graduated Mitchell Summers, who was our do-all everything running back. And we'll kind of fill that void by committee. We got two guys, Michael Williams, who's been Mitchell's backup the last couple of years. And Micah's had a great offseason, and he's ready to go. And he's a senior. And, he has been around, been in the battles, and has been a part of everything the last 2 years. So we're expecting a lot of things out of him. But then we have a sophomore, Ty Shoemake, who is a young kid that has already piqued interest from a lot of different schools at the next level. And, he's a guy that's kind of pushing Mike, and the two of them are making each other better, have this offseason, have really worked hard together. And we've been really pleased with that group. I thought both of them played really well in our scrimmage last Friday. Then on the defensive side, again, we return a lot of our secondary and our linebacking core, but we got some young guys up front that we're excited about. Guy Van, a defensive tackle, Tristan Wardlaw, who's Jaden Wardlaw's brother, and Jaden was a big player for us last season. And I was second on the team in sacks and things of that nature, opposite Bryce Davis. So we got some key pieces of some guys returning, but then we also got some new faces that we're extremely excited about, and I think they're ready to go out and kind of show what they're about and let people know who they are.
Got it.
You got a lot of family ties coursing through this program.
Yeah.
When you have an opportunity to start the season against a really good team, like you said, West Charlotte won last year's 3A state title. There's the transition that everybody has to make now with 8 divisions. And how much do you put into play there when you're talking about 8A and 7A, which is where Grimsley is now, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's correct.
How do you get an idea, a test of strength for a new era in North Carolina athletics, where now you're talking about 8 divisions as opposed to 4?
Yeah, I really think for us, there's really not much difference because the teams that we played in the playoffs, besides Huff and Roseville went 8A. Weddington's still sitting 7A, and East Forsyth, and then there's Cardinal Gibbons, a lot of really good football teams in that 7A classification. Our conference here that we play in this area is really pretty much the same. We added Dudley, which is a really good program that had been 3A. They're 6A, so our conference is a 7A, 6A league. And then we scheduled non-conference, getting to play West Charlotte. We play West Forsyth and East Forsyth the next 2 weeks after that, an 8A and a 7A. So, I think come playoff time, you'll kind of maybe see in some of the classifications maybe a little bit of disparity here or there. But I think really for the 7A, which we're in, I don't see it being too much different than what we faced the last few years, to be honest with you. But, I think some of the change is good. 8 classifications maybe was a little bit more than what a lot of us anticipated. But I do think change was needed in some areas, and I'm glad we got it. And now, it is what it is. So now you just got to make the most of it and move on.
All
Yeah,
right,
because
Coach.
I know there was a lot of that discussion was, is 8A really too much? In not to try to put you on the spot, but I guess I am.
Yeah,
If
that's okay.
if you had to put a cap on it, what would you think would have made most coaches comfortable? 6 division,
I
7?
think 6 is probably the ideal number that everybody was kind of leaning towards. I understand why they went A. been able to sit in a few meetings, and I represent the Football Coaches Association, and I've been a part of a few meetings there with their board of directors and stuff. And I understand why they went 8. The goal is to not have any more than 64 teams in a classification. So you've left room for, as new schools are being built, to not have to change, over the next few years. You're probably going to be set with the 8 classifications for a long time, and you've got room to add new schools and things of that nature. I think the thing that really threw me off, and through some other coaches I've talked to off, was how many teams that they're now allowing into the playoffs. I think the original goal was 32 for each classification. And that way you would kind of end up with the same amount of teams that you had when you had 4 classifications and you had 64 teams going. So I think that kind of was a little curveball that got thrown at us a little bit that we wasn't expecting. But again, it's kind of out of our control. And I think 6 classifications probably would have been ideal, but I understand why it's 8. And hopefully moving forward, it's a good thing for our state and, for all athletics.
All right, Coach, this is the last one for me, but it wouldn't be a Grimsley podcast if we didn't talk about Faizon a little bit. How have you seen his maturation process kind of unfold in front of you because I mean he started as a freshman, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
No, he was our backup.
Okay.
He played in he played in every regular season game and then
Okay.
played in one playoff game his freshman year. But we had a senior that Ryan Stevens that went on to
Okay.
ECU as a slot receiver, and I think really Faison learned a lot from Ryan. That was a really good year for him, just kind of seeing how Ryan took the reins and led our team. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, you're fine. I was just making sure I had my facts straight. So he didn't start, but he did play. Gotcha. Because I
Yep.
had some coaches from up that way tell me that they were like, "This Faison kid, he's going to be the next big thing." And I saw him his sophomore year. He really he does things on the field that you don't see every Friday night, and it is truly impressive. But then last year he seemed to take another step. And what more can he do to improve? I guess if that's the right way to phrase that.
Well, the best thing about Faison is kind of what I mentioned with our team earlier. He is not satisfied. He works every day like he has something to prove, and that's why he's great.
Hmm.
And that's what the great ones do. We have morning lifts during the start of camp here the past couple of weeks at 7 a.m. and he's here at 6:30. I'm in the door, then he's the next one in behind me. He beats the rest of the coaching staff and players here. Like I said, he's a winner. He's a team first guy. He's willing to do whatever it takes for the team to win. And I'm not just saying this stuff because it sounds good. It's the truth. There was games last year where we got the number 1 quarterback in the country, and when the game's over with, he's attempted 8 passes.
Yeah.
And it's because that night it dictated us running the football with Faison, with Mitchell, doing different things. And you could have that guy, you could come to the sideline complaining, hey, I need to throw the ball more or
Hmm.
whatever. And it's all about winning for him. It's all about being the best he can be for his team. What do you need me to do so that Grimsley wins? And this offseason, he's taken another step with his leadership. And he's always been a great leader by example, but through camp, he's been more vocal.
Hmm.
He is, I talked to him a lot about taking ownership of the entire team, not just the offense. So as we've gone through the summer and the start of camp here, he's over there with the defense, encouraging guys, patting them on the back, lifting them up. And, he's not scolding them or anything like that, but he's being a guy that's like, hey, practice is hard in August. It's hot. You're out there early in the morning, no game in sight for a couple weeks. Guys start, slumping a little bit. He goes by and he encourages them. He lifts them up. And when you have your best player doing that, and then he's the first one here, and nobody's outworking him, and he's the last one to leave, it just sets a great tone for our entire team and our program. And I couldn't be more proud of the leader he is. We all know what he can do when he's got in his hands and how he can throw it. He can throw it through, hit a guy 50 yards away, right dead square in the numbers. He's accurate and he's got a strong arm and all that kind of stuff. And his game's evolved in that way. But, just his leadership and ownership of our team and our program speaks volumes to the kind of kid he is, because for the past couple of years, he's had everything thrown at him. He's like got all this great stuff. And he could be like, I'm good. Won a state championship, going to Tennessee, I'm good. But he's actually showing up this year working like he has done nothing. And
Hmm.
he's going out trying to prove something every day. So I couldn't be more proud of him.
Gotcha.
Hey, Coach, got one more question for you before we let you
Yeah.
go. In terms of the game day preparation, and I know high school is different from college, is different from the NFL. When you were playing a game like Fridays on a neutral site at an NFL stadium, I know there'll be some bug-eyed responses to that. It's like, wow, this is something that we've never done before. As the head coach, what do you have to do to get your kids settled in and understand that it's just a football game? Field is the same size and all the other things
Yeah.
that go into it. How do you get your kids to understand there's a certain maturity to going out and taking this as a business trip?
Well, that's a great question. It's one we talked about in our staff meeting a little bit yesterday. But when I touched on it with our staff, and I could be wrong. I've been wrong a lot in my lifetime, but I really feel like our guys, um, you know, they're ready for big moments. They have played in big time games. I mentioned finished the year last year in Keenan state championship game. Went on the road last year, week 2 down to Roseville in a very hostile environment when they were the #1 team in the state. Have played in got guys that have played in some big time games, big time atmospheres. Went on the road to Weddington, played down there. I've played in a Pat Jamison Stadium against Huff and Weddington, like where everything's on the line. And so yeah, playing in Bank of America is a huge deal, but it's just one I think our kids are ready for. And we talk about you play at Grimsley High School, you come to Grimsley High School to play in big time games and big time moments. And I don't think our kids will be wide eyed. I think they'll, get off that bus, and I think they'll be ready to go. They've been looking forward to it. They don't really get too up or too down when things don't go well. They're pretty even keel. And I think that speaks a lot to the older guys that we got that are our leaders, like Faizon, that who just mentioned, and our staff as well. I mean, we're going down there to play a football game, whether it's at Bank of America or at West Charlotte or wherever. And our goal is to be 1-0 when the night's over with. So we got work to do this week to get ready for a really good team. So I think our guys will be ready for the moment.
Very good. Outstanding. And we will be there as well to cover the Keep Pounding Classic, a doubleheader again. And can't wait for Grimsley and West Charlotte to lock up. And it's going to be off the chain. And we appreciate you joining us today. And for those of you who are listening or watching our podcast, be sure to go to our website, thecharlottepost.com, become a donor, become a subscriber, and subscribe to our sports newsletter, which no doubt will have some information about KPC, Keep Pounding Classic. So do us a favor and participate and help support our work with sports journalism. So for everybody at the office in beautiful Derrida, I'm Herb. That's Cam. And this is the coach, Darryl Brown at Greensboro Grimsley. Thank you for watching and listening.